Hi, I'm Catherine Castillo. I had the privilege of observing a TK classroom at Shore Avenue Elementary. I observed the morning portion of the class, or center time. The teacher's name is Yvette Homan. She has over 20 TK students. There are 6 centers set up in her classroom. 3 centers are academic, writing, math, and reading. The other 3 are free choice, library, computer, and blocks and puzzles. Students did 3 rotations. There was about 2 to 5 minutes transition time in between groups. Centers lasted for about 12 to 16 minutes, depending on the class's behavior and comprehension. Assessments done during center time were through running records and observation. Children did fun and interactive centers like free choices math with goldfish, whiteboard tracing letters, and arts and crafts with letter sounds. One teacher sat at one activity and the other teacher walked around to help other students. She later explained to me that running records generally were a list of things or skills that they were looking to see if each student accomplished. These look like a sheet on a clipboard that checked off for each one. After interviewing the teacher, I found out that they do about 1 hour a day of center time, and the remainder is whole group instruction. The teacher also explained to me that they do assessments based on notations, videos and picture documentation, analyzing video, and dictation. The type of assessments that I observed throughout my time in Mrs. Homan's classroom were formative, any assessment that is used to support learning. Students were assessed by Mrs. Homan throughout the centers. She did a great job of what OB and staff deemed as necessary to be an effective teacher. She made explicit what learners needed to do to improve. For example, while working with one of the children on the letter M while writing on the whiteboard, Mrs. Homan first had each student trace the letter M. She then had them do it freehand next. For some of the students, they got it first try. Others had to be explicitly shown how to draw the letter M correctly. This reinforced the idea that if one knows the criteria against which one's work is judged, then one is clearly better placed to produce a good piece of work. She did not use any form of summative assessments while I observed, but she did tell me that she uses them. Sorry about that. This form of assessment was right on track with the assessments that I've learned about in this week's lessons. Her formative assessments of the centers showed perspective. It looks forward to the next steps of learning. It all seems to build on one another and change depending on the outcome of what is learned by the student. This is why also her centers can vary in time for each center and transition time. I feel that the teacher's strategies were spot on with her students' abilities. Being in her classroom, I really got the sense that she knew all of her students' strengths and weaknesses. She knew what they were capable of and where they needed extra help. For example, one of her students was having difficulty with the math center. This child was taking others' goldfish, and adding it to his pile and being destructive. Instead of scolding him, she redirected his attention to the task at hand. She then asked him if he was having difficulty with the addition problem himself. He was not understanding what he was supposed to do, so he started acting out. She later explained to me that math is very difficult for this particular student, and she had a feeling that this is why he was doing what he was doing. I thought that this was an excellent example of a teacher not only assessing the child academically, but also emotionally. At the TK age, it is so important to pick up on these types of things, as these students are not always capable of advocating for themselves. Throughout my short observation, I did not get to see her summative assessment, particularly or the running records. She did explain to me that she uses this when evaluating her students weekly. She does not do this daily. My alternative strategy would be to use both formative and summative assessments daily in the classroom. She could have running records set for each day rather than just each week. She could see how each child evolves and improves over the week, or even see where they regress. This could help students become more successful long term. Thank you so much.